I'm Soren, and I would like to thank you for joining me today on my series, The Price of Victory, where I break down the cost that you can expect to pay, both monetarily and in hobby time, for a competitive tournament army. Today, I would like to discuss the Fyreslayers. Now, in order to do so, I have to make some assumptions. In order to determine the approximate relative value, I use the official Games Workshop website to find their retail price of all of the armies I discuss. I realize that if you're not too picky, you can pick up your models for far less than retail price at places like eBay and Facebook buy and sell groups. But I cannot determine what is available in your area, and I would like to have this be a series that is available everywhere. I also don't assume that those watching are willing to do custom conversions for expensive models. I will, on the other hand, assume that they're willing to convert limited edition models that can no longer be found on the Games Workshop website. For the hobby section, I've asked two local commission painters for an approximate amount of time that they base the price of a commission on. This assumes that you are a somewhat proficient hobbyist and in a hurry. So as such, this is a minimum time investment expected for a tournament-ready force and is not intended to be the definitive guide on how long a specific unit or army will take to build. Well, that said, let's get to the first army. At 4-1 at the London GT in 2019 and ranked number 3 overall, this particular army list consists of a Auric Runesmiter on Magma Draw, a Battlesmith, a Auric Runefather, and Auric Runemaster. A total of 55 Hearthguard Berserkers, a Runic Firewall, and a unit that's not actually included on the list, and that would be the Magmic Battleforge. This will be the first army in which I will be detailing a hidden cost in which in general, in these lists, the terrain feature is not included as a part of the army list, but you will want it to be in a competitive army list. So, overall, this particular army will cost roughly $730 US, 450 Great British Pounds, 885 Canadian, or 1150 Australian. For the hobby time, the Runefather, the Runemaster, and the Battlesmith, as smaller characters, can take roughly between 5 and 6 hours apiece. The Auric Runesmiter on the Magma Droth, on the other hand, as a larger model, is going to take between 16 and 30 hours. You'd like to take your time on your centerpiece models. The large number of Hearthguard Berserkers, on the other hand, has been estimated at roughly 5 to 6 hours per 5-man unit. The Runic Firewall being equivalent to an endless spell, my commission painters have estimated that it would take roughly 2 hours. And the Magmic Battleforge, in order to put together and paint it, roughly 6 hours. For a grand total of the hobby time, expected hobby time of 108 hours. This is a much less of an investment as far as time is concerned than the normal tournament army, and I'd like to point that out. Unfortunately, you are painting a lot of the very same models. There are 55 Hearthguard Berserkers. At the same grand tournament, the London GT, this particular army was ranked 9, and it also went 4-1. And for the most part, it is the same, with a Auric Runefather, an Auric Runemaster, a Battlesmith, and an Auric Runesmiter on a Magma Draw. It does add a second Auric Runesmiter. Only 25 Hearthguard Berserkers, 10 Volkite Berserkers, 10 Auric Hearthguard, a Runic Fireball, and the hidden unit, the Magnet Battleforge. This army will cost roughly $645 US, $405 in Great Britain, no, 405 pounds Great Britain, 780 Canadian, and 1,035 Australian. The hobby time is roughly 103 hours. The Sydney Slaughter, a Sydney GT that is a 2,500 point event, also had several very interesting lists. Now, at the time of recording, I do not have an actual ranking, so I chose a Fyreslayers list at random, and we'll be presenting that today. So on this list, Gotrek Gurnison is the ally with a Rune Father, a Rune Master, a Battlesmith, 2 Rune Smiters, 20 Hearthguard Berserkers, a total of 40 Volkite Berserkers, a Molten Infernoth Endless Spell, the Zaragon Flame Spitter, and a Magnet Battleforge. This particular list costs a total of 630 US, 393 Great British pounds, 755 Canadian, or 1,025 Australian. Although there are more endless spells, there are roughly the same number of men involved in this army as in other armies. As a side note, I would like to point out that Gotrek Gurnison, although my commissioned painters have put a model such as himself at a minimum of 8 hours time, this is, again, a centerpiece type of model that you may want to spend more time on. The amount of hobby time expected for this particular army was 103 hours. The expected average cost for this army is a little under $700 American, a little under 430 pounds, a little over 830 Canadian, and a little less than 1,100 Australian, with a total expected hobby time of 105 and a half hours. As this compares to the average cost of a competitive army, as determined by myself by taking the average cost of 2,000 point army lists, competitive army lists, from the Daughters of Cain, Fyreslayers, Disciples of Zinch, Idnathekan, Hedonites of Slaanesh, Flesh Eater Courts, Grand Host of Nagash, Scaventide, and Blades of Corn, and averaging those prices and the expected hobby time. The expected overall cost of a competitive army is a little over $760 American, a little over 460 Great British pounds, a little bit more than 920 Canadian, and a little less than 1,200 Australian, with an expected hobby time of 159.1 hours. As a side note, the Fyreslayers, with an expected hobby time of less than 106 hours, is by far the fastest army to put on the table. It's a lot of the same models, but it is, again, really, really easy to put this army on the table. I hope you'll join us next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.